Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. If you have not done so already and you are here with us, please silence your phones. My name is Sam McCoy, and I have been attending services here since, I think it was June 2003. And over the years, I've been involved in a variety of aspects of our congregational life. Most recently, I was serving on the Board of Trustees. I'm currently joining the Sunday Services team. And prior to that, I had a lot of involvement with religious education. And so this has been a wonderful place for me and my family. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury has been gathering for over 200 years. And as we work to build a more just world, we respectfully acknowledge that our physical building is on the traditional land of the Paugussett people. I'm so glad that you're able to join us this morning because you are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, in person or online, we are stronger because you are with us. If you're new to our community and joining us online, we invite you to introduce yourself and where you're connecting from in the chat box as you're comfortable. At the conclusion of today's service, you'll have a chance to participate in a breakout group for individual connections and deeper check-ins. If you're new and here in person, please fill out a visitor card at the table near the exit before you leave today, and consider staying for a few minutes after the service for coffee and conversation. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. We do have a couple of announcements, but I was given an adjustment to one of those announcements this morning. The Conversation Book Group was scheduled to meet this coming week, but they're going to have to postpone that meeting till September. But if you are interested in reading the book, it is The Chancellor, which is a biography of Angela Merkel. And if you're interested in learning more about the book, about the Conversation Group, you should speak with Marianne Kula. Also, next Sunday, we'll be looking forward to welcoming the Reverend D.L. Helfer and a service on the topic of making space for mental health. Again, I'm happy to welcome everyone to the UU Congregation of Danbury.
Good morning. I'm Sierra Marie Gerfeo. I'm this congregation's Director of Religious Education for Children and Youth. But this morning, I've been asked to be with you instead as a minister colleague of Reverend Kathleen. Your minister, Reverend Kathleen, looks forward to being back on August 28th. And in the meantime, I'm so glad to have this opportunity to be with you in this way this morning. It is good to be together. Here we are. Have you settled into being here yet? To being together in community, whether you are online or here in the room. I invite you to take a moment to settle in more fully, to settle into all that is holding you now. The floor, or chair, or couch, or bed underneath you, and the gravity that promises, as the children's book says, to never let you float away. In a moment, we'll have a chance to greet one another, but I do invite you, if it is life-affirming for you, to take another minute now to become aware of our togetherness. To become aware that even across time and space, here we are. Here we are together. Life meeting life. Let's take a few moments to greet one another. For those on Zoom, take time if you want for hearty hellos in the chat and a little catch up. And for those of you who are in the room, you might turn and give a wave to those online, but also greet those near you and across the room. And I'll make sure we have time so that we can move around a little bit. Grab my mask. Let's join in singing our hymn of welcome, What Wondrous Love, a Unitarian Universalist version. This is number 18 in the gray hymnal.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down, sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow ground, friends to me gathered around. Oh my soul, oh my soul, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing.
Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life.
Let's join in the children's affirmation. The words are on the screen. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We care for the earth and each other. You all hear me? Jerry's teaching me how to use the mic in real time. There we go. Instead of a story per se this morning, I've brought something called an energy break. Youth groups sometimes use these. You'll be invited to move around in this energy break in the ways that make sense for you and your body and your spirit. You get to choose if and how you participate. The only rules are, number one, You respect the space of people around you. If you stand up with anyone sort of behind you, make sure you don't block their view. If you swing your arm, make sure you don't accidentally knock someone. The second and only other rule is that this is a repeat after me, sort of Simon Says kind of exercise, but you can change it as needed and desired. If I say, you see this arm, and I point to my arm, you can say or do something else that fits for you. Our bodies are different. What we are able and willing to do is different, and all of that is something to celebrate. So what are the two rules? Respect other people's space and what was that? Don't hit each other. Yes, respect other people's space, including don't hit each other, and participate in the way that makes sense for you. And even kind of a third, everything that I do anyway is always by invitation. And it wouldn't be an invitation if you didn't get to say yes or no. You get to choose participation. Okay. So are you ready? You can stand if you want. You see this hand? You repeat after me if you want. You see this hand? This is my hand.
This is my hand.
It ain't your hand.
It ain't your hand.
This is my hand.
This is my hand.
Mine, all mine.
Mine, all mine.
You see these elbows?
These elbows.
This is my set of elbows.
This is my set of elbows.
They ain't your elbows.
And your elbows.
They're mine, all mine.
They're mine, all mine.
You see these knees?
These knees.
These are my knees.
These are my knees.
These ain't your knees.
And your knees.
These are my knees.
These are my knees.
They're mine, all mine.
They're mine, all mine.
You see these toes?
These toes.
These are my toes.
These are my toes.
They ain't your toes.
And your toes.
These are my toes.
These are my toes.
Mine, all mine.
Mine, all mine.
You see this nose?
You see this nose?
This is my nose.
This is my nose.
It ain't your nose.
It ain't your nose.
This is my nose.
This is my nose.
It's mine, all mine.
Mine, all mine.
You see this body?
See this body?
This is my body.
This is my body.
It ain't your body.
It ain't your body.
This is my body.
This is my body.
It's mine, all mine.
It's mine, all mine.
And that's it. Thank you. We will. May all of this be held in wondrous love. In the coming moments of meditation, may compassion flow into you and through you and from you. Where you feel pain or discomfort, may you feel a flooding of soothing compassion there also. May it flow through the aching spaces within you and flow out in life-nourishing abundance until commingled with the compassion of all those with whom we share this existence. Finally, it covers the surface of the earth. May it wash over all when it is most needed. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be. Let's sing together Spirit of Life, hymn number 123. If the slides get stuck again and you need a hymnal, they are in the back corner over here.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Some excerpts from Adrienne Marie Brown's book, Emergent Strategy. Imagination is shaped by our entire life experience, our socialization, the concepts we are exposed to, where we fall in the hierarchies of society. Our ideas of right and wrong shift with time. Right now, it's clear to me that something is wrong if it hurts the planet. But if we don't claim the future, that sense of loyalty to the earth, of environmentalism, could become outdated. Kenny Bailey helped me understand this, that justice, rights, things we take for granted are not permanent. Once there were kings and queens all over the earth. Someday, we might speak of presidents and CEOs in the past tense only. It is so important that we fight for the future. Get into the game. Get dirty. Get experimental. How do we create and proliferate a compelling vision of economies and ecologies that center humans and the natural world over the accumulation of the material? We embody, we learn, we release the idea of failure because it's all data. But first we imagine. We are in an imagination battle. Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown and Renisha McBride and so many others are dead because in some white imagination, they were dangerous. And that imagination is so respected that those who kill based on an imagined racialized fear of Black people are rarely held accountable. Imagination has people thinking they can go from being poor to a millionaire as part of a shared American dream. Imagination turns brown bombers into terrorists and white bombers into mentally ill victims. Imagination gives us borders, gives us superiority, gives us race as an indicator of capability. I often feel I am trapped inside someone else's imagination, and I must engage my own imagination in order to break free. All of this imagining in the poverty of our current system is heightened because of scarcity economics. There isn't enough, so we need to hoard, enclose, divide, fence up, and prioritize resources and people. We have to imagine beyond those fears. We have to ideate, imagine, and conceive together. We must imagine new worlds that transition ideologies and norms. This is a time travel exercise, an exercise of the heart. This is collaborative ideation. What are the ideas that will liberate all of us? So ends the reading.
It is now time for our congregational offering. If you are with us for the first time, your presence is your gift to us. Members and friends online, please express your generosity by using the link or QR code found on the screen or in your chat. If you prefer, you may send a check to UUCD at 24 Clappard Ridge Road, Danbury, 06811. Thank you for doing your part to support and sustain this community we love.
I was away for professional development for a lot of July, so I didn't get to check in with all of you when those images started getting released from the James Webb Telescope. How many of you felt moved to awe and wonder in the last month or so by those images? One of them is on the order of service cover, but I think my favorite might be the cosmic cliffs, which according to the Webb Telescope website, you can see it there, is actually the edge of a gigantic gaseous cavity about 7,600 light years away from us. NASA's website on the Webb Telescope says that the cavity was carved by the intense ultraviolet radiation and stellar winds from extremely massive, hot, young stars. This period of very early star formation is difficult to capture, the website says, because get this, for an individual star, it lasts only 50,000 to 100,000 years. But I actually wasn't moved to awe and wonder by these images, at least not at first, because I was traveling and I missed the news. I knew nothing about the telescope, and I didn't learn about the release of the images until a week or two later when I was in a car taking 3 teens to a sports competition. One of these kids asked everyone in the car if we'd all seen the images. And we spent the next half hour talking about how perspective altering things like this can be. We all agreed that put in perspective of something like young stars, 7,600 light years away, and periods of star formation that are uncommonly seen because they only last 50,000 or 100,000 years, time and space just feels completely unimaginable. A kid in the car, who it may or may not be significant to say had been socialized as a boy, said the awareness of just how small we are in the scale of things was terrifying. While a kid in the car who had been socialized as a girl said it was really freeing, relieving actually, to have that kind of scale with which to measure the weight of her responsibilities. Truly remarkable images they are. I wonder if you know you are made of stardust. I'm certain I've talked about this before, but I want to remind you, that's not metaphorical. You are stardust. This is literally true. The atoms of your body were made in stars that have long ago exploded, sending elements out into the fathoms where they eventually have become you. Your life is a miracle arising from mysteries we can only begin to imagine. And here we are, pulled into this green and blue shared home, breathing together for this brief time, which, as far as we know, may never repeat exactly as it is right now. I realize your imagination might go in some different directions as you sit here in this awareness of your stardust reality. For instance, it's possible that you are as likely to imaginatively respond to the news of our stardust reality as a signal that because of the material of your body is billions of years old and will continue into a potentially endless future, the particulars of your existence are insignificant. It's possible that you might imaginatively respond to the news of our stardust reality, not as a signal of the miraculousness of your embodied life, but of meaninglessness. No doubt, as Adrienne Maree Brown says, imagination is shaped by our entire life experience, our socialization, the concepts we're exposed to, where we fall in the global hierarchies of society. I would add that it's shaped even by temperament. But I'm going to invite you to sit with this knowing of our stardust nature through a more life-affirming imagination. I believe that's what's needed in our world. I learned from colleagues this year about an emerging tradition at LGBTQ+ Pride events. It's something I hope to bring to events out this way next summer. Colleagues told me that they have been offering stardust blessings at Pride. They've used biodegradable glitter as if holy oil and have blessed people who have come to them for blessings with words like this: "You are made of stardust, born of the infinite creativity of the universe. We rejoice and give thanks that you are shining your light in this world." As a queer person in a world where some religious imaginations have rendered me an evil threat, even though I was raised as a Unitarian Universalist and largely affirmed in my identity from early on, these words in this context are deeply healing and life-affirming. We are in an imagination battle, Adrienne Maree Brown says. We must imagine new worlds that transition ideologies and norms. I think that's why I keep sticking with my work 20-something years in, because there is so much potential in religious communities to imagine new worlds, to become communities of practice for transitioning ideologies and norms. We humans have shaped the world, this beautiful, time-limited, miraculous blue and green ball of stardust arising from an ever-expanding universe teeming with life. We have shaped it such that all that life is unnecessarily suffering, the least of these suffering first and most. We need a new imagination. Most of the time in religious community, we reenact what we imagine to be the most moral versions of the ideologies and norms of the world around us, writing off imaginations of new worlds as unrealistic and even dangerous. Think about abolishing the police, for example. But those of us who have been, by way of existing ideologies and norms kept at the margins, made the bearers the brunt of suffering, understand that our participation in the ideologies and norms of the world around us is what is unrealistic and even dangerous. I say this not only as a queer minister, but as a disabled minister, and the language I'm using here is particular and purposeful. Disabled is a political category. Euphemisms substitute words meant to be gentle, like special needs, handy-capable, physically or mentally challenged, or differently abled, while often preferred by our parents and supports, are not the chosen terms of the vast majority of those of us who are disabled. Those euphemistic terms, those substitute words, are one of the countless insidious or common and subtle ways we unintentionally uphold ableist white supremacy. One of the ways that we keep ableism going, in this case, by hiding the political nature of disability. I'll explain that more in a minute. These euphemisms also have the effect of blunting the political organizing of young disabled people by preventing them from locating themselves in the political community that is disabled and ensuring that their understanding of their own experiences will be in the individualistic terms these euphemisms foster. These euphemisms identify disability in personal differences, rather than identifying the ways that we build systems, structures, and physical bodies with just a few kinds of people bodies in mind. And of course, when I say bodies, I'm talking about body minds too. I am disabled, not by my differences and not even by my impairments or pain, but by a world in which my participation, if imagined at all, was imagined as an afterthought or feared as a complication of norms. How I wish I would have known that I was a part of the disabled community, of that political group, as a young person, experiencing the micro and macro aggressions, the various forms of oppression that a disabled child experiences, whether or not their parents let them know that they are disabled. For years, I thought I was the problem. I'm also not using person-first language. I'm not saying I'm a person with disabilities. I'm using identity-first language. I am a disabled person. Of course, when talking about people, I hope you'll mirror the language they use for themselves. People's ways of self-identifying are important, especially among those of us directly affected by ableism. But when speaking of disability more generally, you should know that for these same political reasons, even though many teachers and parents and medical providers have been trained to say person with a disability, many disabled communities now prefer identity-first language, disabled person. This is especially common among autistic people, deaf people, and blind people, even if they use terms like deaf, as in deaf culture, part of deaf culture, rather than disabled. The identity comes first. In the email that was sent out this morning with the link to today's service, you'll find another link to a very basic list of resources informing today's topic. Among those resources is a video called The Right to Be Disabled, which features a segment of a talk by disabled activist Norman Kuntz. In that video, Kuntz offers a quote that I think will help us get rooted in a political understanding designed to dismantle ableism. Kuntz references a white man named John McKnight, who worked to support the integration of the auto industry during the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s. The quote from McKnight that Kuntz offers in his talk, The Right to be Disabled, is this: "Revolutions begin when people who are defined as problems achieve the power to redefine the problem." Let me say that again. Revolutions begin when people who are defined as problems achieve the power to redefine the problem. So what I'm offering you now is a disabled definition of disability, the social model. In the social model of disability, it is the failure of imagination that all bodies belong that disables people. But it must be said that this isn't just a failure of imagination, this is also active oppression. It is exemplified in everything from the history in the US of eugenics and so-called ugly laws designed to prevent the appearance of disabled people in public, to the continued allowance of sub-minimum wages for disabled people, as little as 22 cents an hour, the lack of marriage equality, and even restricted voting rights. So as you can probably tell by now, today's reflections aren't rooted in rejoicing in the love of parents, caretakers, and other loved ones who have disabled people in their lives, though I am one of those too. The reflections I offer today instead are rooted for me most firmly in what disability activist Amy Kenny calls a disability justice ethos, an orientation or way of looking at the world that arises from the experiences of being disabled and centers justice making. But I realize some of you might be pretty confused at this point. You might be saying, Sierra Marie, I didn't know you're disabled, or you don't look disabled. That makes sense. Ableism tends to make certain disabilities invisible in our world and makes us more likely to interpret the ways these invisibilized disabilities show up as character flaws, irritations, quirks, unexplainables, coincidences, and eccentricities. So let me just clear the air for those of you who may not have heard me say it. I'm multiply disabled. My disabilities include hearing loss. I do wear a hearing aid, although you may not see it for a while because I accidentally threw it away this spring. Neurodivergence, including cognitive divergences, and multiple chronic medical conditions that impact my everyday life in significant ways, including the need for me to wear medical equipment that stays on me at all times. And separately, impacts on my mobility or movement. I mean, this fluctuates. Today I'm wearing heels, but there are some days I can't walk. I actually need supports, though it may not be obvious, for my daily living. Most of the support that I've received has been provided by my wife of 20 years and my closest friends. Nonetheless, those support needs exist. This reflection may be one of the harder ones I've ever prepared. And part of the reason is that most people are taught that the things they need to know about disability are not to stare, to be nice, to not ask too many questions, certainly not in public, and to try to include others. And it's not enough. It's like thinking we can undo white supremacy by being nice. Children are not taught disability history. Too many people don't know that there have been multiple civil rights movements among disabled people, especially disabled people of color. Many of us are left subconsciously imagining that the Americans with Disabilities Act came from able people deciding, hey, we should include disabled people too. And figuring out how to be nice about letting disabled people, do things like enter public buildings. By the way, I'll note here that religious communities were among lobbyists working to defeat the Americans with Disabilities Act, and to this day, religious organizations remain exempt. Talk about reflecting the ideologies and norms of the world around us. I would venture to guess that most people, including parents of disabled children, and actually some disabled people too, have no idea, have never been exposed, and definitely have not paused to consider that there are disabled scholars who have invested lifetimes of work in disability studies, as with other identity groups, and have developed an incredible body of work around a variety of topics related to disability, from history to theory to literature and culture to politics to ethics and theology. Just like any identity category, there's a huge amount of high quality scholarship done by people belonging to the identity group. So the challenge in preparing to offer this reflection has been like this, has been like, there's an ocean behind me and the waves keep tumbling in. I can only offer you a bucket of water in our time together. Though I know that even if you've spent a lifetime at the water's edge, you may never have dipped a bucket in its waters. And you will need much more than a single bucket if we are going to build sand castles together. So let's just start with one thing, with rooting ourselves in a new imagination in which all bodies belong. What would that mean for you? If you could practice not insisting that your body earn its place, not insisting that it prove its worth, not harming yourself and others by heaping praise on your weight loss and heaping shame on your weight gain, not killing yourself literally to keep up with capitalist demands, fostering a world in which those demands are normalized, even though there are those of us who will never be able to keep up, who may never participate at all, and whose lives have greatness anyway, not because of other things that they do, but because they are stardust. Christians say they are image bearers of the divine. What if you woke up reminding yourself each day that you are stardust? And so is everything around you. What if you gazed upon those pictures from the James Webb Telescope and said, in this vast universe, there are all kinds of ways stardust shows up. Its beauty contains multitudes, so much diversity. In my body, in my stardust reality, only beauty. The suffering I feel is real and is life, but it does not alter that I am stardust. What a strange and inconceivable miracle that this stardust has taken on life for this time, whatever form precisely it has been shaped into. Ah, hello, hand. The world told me you were not the right kind of hand. But you are my hand, and I say not. You are mine, all mine, and you are a marvel of this universe. Hand, nobody can tell me otherwise. I know the truth now. And then we might come together expecting everyone to be here, which of course changes what we do. We might come together expecting stardust to show up in fluctuating and ever different ways. We counter what Sonia Renee Taylor, author of The Body Is Not an Apology, which by the way is my recommendation of the day, we counter what Sonia Renee Taylor calls body terrorism. And we intentionally root ourselves in the body positivity movement as it was designed specifically by queer disabled women of color in the form of radical self-love and love of beloved community, such that we are able to take down ableism and all structures and systems of oppression. So may it be.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment.
Let's join in singing hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Oh, below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue home.
A blessing adapted from Andrea Hawkins Camper. Blessed are we who have gathered with open hearts together today. Blessed are we, the chalice lighters of resistance, justice, love, and faith. Blessed are we, the heretics, the outcasts, the travelers of our own way. Blessed are we, the border crossers, the refugees, the immigrants, the poor, the wanderers who are not lost. Blessed are we, the transgressors, the trespassers, the passers-by, the cause takers, the defiant, the compliant. Blessed are we, the disabled and the abled. Blessed are we, the hand extenders, the sign makers, the protesters, the protectors. Blessed are we, the trans women, the trans men, the non-binary, the cisgender, the multigender, the no gender. Blessed are we, the friend, the stranger, the lonely, the hidden, the visible, the authentic. Blessed are we who rise in solidarity. Blessed are we who cannot. Blessed are we who do not. May you be a blessing. May you go forth this day, imagining a new world into being. So may it be.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, 'cause we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, I'm gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Oh, 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 oh. Another round of bullets hits my skin. We'll fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades, reaching for the sun. We are warriors, yes, that's what we've become. Won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Oh, oh, this is me.